Maybe we are, maybe we aren't. Who knows? It's spinning. We'll find out. Oh, love the spinning timer. That's even better. This is terrific. Oy, there we go. Well, how about that one? Sharks go to LA, steal 2 points from the Los Angeles Kings. We'll break this one down. Probably some of the ugliest end periods, but we'll get it all going for you and more. Right now, this is Teal Town After Dark. Oh, wow.
I think we're fine.
Yeah. I hope we are.
I think we are. Okay. I just muted the thing. We hear you. We're good.
Good. Yeah, Kevin's like, we can hear you. Will the intro begin? Oh, there we go. Finally. Good evening, everyone. It is January 22nd, 2024. The San Jose Sharks are victorious 4-3 in the shootout over the Los Angeles Kings, and we welcome you to this edition of Teal Town After Dark. This is your live interactive Sharks post-game. We do this after every game, so if you want to be part of the show, here's how you do it. Chat with us and fellow Sharks fans all over the page on YouTube or the YouTube app. Of course, follow us on all the social medias, and of course, hit us up at tealtownusa.com. And if you want to support the pod, feel free to do so on Venmo or hit us up in the super chat with a comment in the chat. And we already see the chat is already going off. And I will say good evening to you, Mr. Ian Reed. How are you, good sir?
I am fantastic. Yeah, our graphics are just chugging along here, eh?
Yeah.
That's all right.
It's wonderful.
You know what matters? Like, it's the audio that matters. Can people hear us? Yes, apparently they can.
Yes.
So that's all that matters. I mean, this stream can chug along and do its thing. As long as people can hear us, it's fine.
Tom and Jerry, I love your cartoons, by the way. The Sharks actually won a shootout. That never happens. Yeah, we know.
It's true.
It's true. They're undefeated in overtime, though, right? If I'm not mistaken, unlike the Barracuda.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
All I watch is bad hockey.
Couture is the tank killer. Dude has really made an impact in just 2 games.
Yeah, I think here's the thing, right? With Couture, like I think it's great. Like Couture comes back, and I real credit to him because it's hard to get up to mid-season speed, and I think my concern with Couture is that the way he's come out of the gate is I wonder if like as the grind of the season goes on and as he starts playing more and more games, I wonder if he's going to kind of hit a wall at some point. But I mean, he gets a lot of credit for me because it's hard to get up to game speed, especially when you missed as much time as he does. Like everyone's like, oh yeah, but you're not, he's rested. He's going to be fresh. He can play it, but it's hard to get up to that, to mid-season speed. As a player who misses that much time. So it's a real credit to him and the work he put in to get back into the lineup.
Yep.
For him to come back and do what he's done so far. Like I said, I'm not trying to be I'm not trying to rain on Couture's parade here. I think it's great, but I do wonder as the grind of the season continues, if it's going to start catching up to him at some point.
Yeah. We'll see. I mean, it's such a tough grind, like as you said, to miss half the year and just to kind of jump into the middle of it. But also at the same time, there could be some guys that are having the dog days of winter. I mean, you're in the middle of the season, you're in a grind, you're not even maybe a week and a half away from going on your bye week and the All-Star break.
Sure.
So
but you've been playing, like there's something to be said for like, yeah, the season's a grind, and yeah, obviously you're going to get bumps and bruises as the season progresses. But when you are kind of in that and you've been in that mode for a while, like your body's somewhat used to it at the same time, right?
For sure.
Whereas for a guy like Couture who has missed half the season, like his body isn't isn't, it's not as easy to come back and do what he's doing. That's why you see a lot of people come back and it takes them a few games to really find themselves. And
Mm-hmm.
like I said, credit to Couture, because obviously whatever he did to prepare to get back into the game has worked out for him.
Yeah, whatever it is. Yeah. Oh, Logan. Yeah, Logan Teal. Good to see you playing the parade. Yes. We'll begin at West Santa Clara Street by Saturday, and we'll be all wearing our brand new black jerseys to go with it. So we'll have fun with it.
Yeah.
But as we get into this game, we'll be waiting to hear if there's anything from David Quinn in regards to Mario Ferraro. He took that rough hit by Trevor Lewis. Not a penalty, I wouldn't say.
No, I think it was a hockey play. The thing is, so when I first saw that, I was pretty concerned because it looked really ugly. But him coming back and kind of testing it out kind of makes me think that even if it is something, it's probably not serious. If he was able to come out and kind of test it and be like, well, yeah, maybe I can't play still, right? I think if there's something, an adrenaline's a weird thing too. So maybe, you still have the adrenaline going, you come on the ice, maybe they'll do an MRI tomorrow and find out it's terrible and he's shut down for the season. But I think seeing him come back on the ice, yeah, it was an ugly play and not ugly for the reason like it was dirty. It was a scary thing to see the way his leg kind of awkwardly went into the boards. But the fact that he was able to go and test it a little bit in the intermission, I think that's probably 99.9% chance. That's probably a positive. Probably means this isn't super serious, but I'm not a doctor and I definitely don't have an MRI, app for Chrome. So we'll see what happens tomorrow.
In case you weren't aware, Ian Reed is not a doctor, nor does he play one on YouTube.
No, that's right. I don't play one on YouTube. Let me add that to the list of things I'm not. I'm not media. I'm not a doctor. I'm not even angry half the time anymore. I'm a completely, completely misrepresenting myself now, I guess.
And the happy Canadian robot, I don't know. Are you now human? Who knows?
You know what? I thought, with the way that the Swedes were today, I'm gonna defect and I'm gonna be the moderately amused Swedish robot.
Well, let's talk about the Swedes. The first period, I thought they looked pretty scared. Like LA came in and was guns a blazing, really dominated, especially the last half of the period. I think they outshot San Jose 17-8, if I'm not mistaken, and just was all over the Sharks early on, and I'm like waiting for them to just score something, but as it has been this season, goaltending's not the problem. Kaapo Kahkonen stood up to the challenge.
Yeah, you know what? What I'd like to actually do before we get into the game is I think we kind of need to set the stage a little bit here because I think this LA team's in an incredibly interesting place right now. Los Angeles, obviously, they got off to a really good start to the season. And then, now more recently, they've kind of been on, they're not really doing very well, right? I think they're 2-4-4 in their last 10 or something.
They are
crazy like
in
that.
rough shape.
So they're kind of falling out. And of course, the unfortunate thing for them is Edmonton is absolutely, completely caught fire. So Edmonton's fault, Edmonton moves up and they're going to sit in that third seed in the Pacific. And I think if I'm the Vegas Golden Knights and I see them coming, I mean, obviously, like the Golden Knights do have like a 7-point lead on them, but with the way that the Oilers are playing and the mediocre hockey that Vegas is kind of playing right now, that can change really, really quickly. So, I mean, for teams that are actually in the playoffs or, as of right now, I mean, the Kings are in an interesting spot because they've had a really good start to the season, but it's kind of slipping away from them right now.
Right.
I think it's with a lot of teams right now, scoring's up across the league, right? And so we're seeing a lot of teams really kind of struggling if their goaltending can't be consistent. And, tonight, like David Rittich was pretty angry at the end of this game. And I would probably be pretty angry if I was David Rittich too. Cam Talbot's kind of turned into a pumpkin. like he often does. So, you know,
Right.
you have a lot of really good teams right now that have kind of really been undone by goaltending. I think if you look at, I don't think Toronto's a really good team. I think there's definitely construction there, but I think they're better than their record would indicate. And what's the issue there? Goaltending. At the start of the season in Edmonton, what was the issue? Goaltending.
Goaltending.
So it's, the Kings obviously coming into this game, this is a team. These teams don't like each other. Like these teams have never liked each other. So this is a team that, not only like there's rivalries here, and I know like there's a lot of guys on this team that haven't faced each other like this, haven't been in this competition, but there's enough guys on both these rosters that have.
Right.
Anze Kopitar, Drew Doughty, like there's going to be no love lost with the Sharks there. And I think that kind of trickles through the lineup. So when you see a team like San Jose, a team you already don't like, and a team that's, yeah, we beat the Ducks last game, but after that, before that, it was some pretty dreadful hockey watching for Sharks fans. This is points that they probably thought that they should have walked away with. And yeah, they do
Hell
get
yeah.
1 point here, but yeah, I mean, this is a game that LA really needed to win.
And there's been some calls for T-Mac to be let go. Be
Yeah,
interesting to see about that.
I mean, right? Like, I think if you look at Edmonton, I think Edmonton's like the perfect example of this, though. Is it that Knobloch is such a better coach than Jay Woodcroft, or did McDavid get healthy and the goaltending could actually be goaltending? Right?
You're not wrong there, my friend. I mean, it could be a combination, and just the spark, and just adding on to,
But
McDavid
but
being 100%. But go
yeah,
ahead.
and but obviously here's the problem, right? Can't fire the players.
No, no, it's the easy fix, and
Sure. Yeah, because
and
it's
and
it's the
Holland's
only fix
on
that you can make.
and Holland's on the hot seat big time right now. So
Well,
yeah,
I mean for LA though, like they could fire the coach. I don't think, but I think Todd McClellan's been fine for them. I don't know who they would want to replace him with. I wonder what Kings fans would say. Probably Jay Woodcroft. But when I look at this LA team, I don't think coaching's their issue. I just think they can't buy a save right now.
right.
And tonight was kind of another example of that.
Yeah. Just another Randy G chiming in on the chat. I was so happy to see a good Kings Sharks tilt like the good old days. Yeah,
Yeah.
it wasn't like one sided like we've seen before with an occasional Sharks win. So,
Yeah, Marty's saying I always like T-Mac. If you asked me to say who was the best coach the Sharks ever had, I'd say Todd McClellan.
yeah,
Now people are gonna be like, well, he left, and it's true. I mean, look at coaches are like diapers. Eventually, you have to fill. You have to change them. That's just the reality of the game, right? Eventually, you have to change the coach.
Yeah.
And Todd McClellan, I think, as well, he did a lot of good things in San Jose. I just think that when he left, it was time, unfortunately,
Yeah.
for him.
It was a bummer that they couldn't get the job done. They couldn't get, they got to the third round twice.
Yeah.
And just couldn't turn around with T-Mac. And he's got a good team in LA right now, and I think they're guns a-blazing.
Yeah, he just can't buy a save, which is the undoing of like every coach.
Which is just a nightmare right now. And it would be ironic that that his mentor, his protege, his mentor got fired because of bad goaltending, and Jay Woodcroft. It can happen to T-Mac pretty soon. But Blake came out with a vote of confidence, so we'll see what happens there in that. So.
Taco Cruiser asking McClellan better than Daryl Sutter. Yes, I would argue yes. I think that T-Mac got more out of a lot of players. That there's only certain types of players that are gonna really thrive in a Daryl Sutter system.
Right.
And I think the era of the team that Daryl Sutter coached, like that team was suited to that era. But I don't think if you put Daryl Sutter behind the Todd McClellan years Sharks, I don't know if they were good.
No, I mean, just just think of Daryl talking about Danny Heatley here. Oh, I think he took a shit. You know, I don't know if it's the right team to build around him. And yes, Daryl Sutter had wonderful things
Like I
happen
think,
in
yeah,
LA,
like when
but
like the Owen Nolan years, like perfect team for Daryl Sutter, right?
absolutely.
But I don't think he would. I don't think he would have gotten as much out of the Todd McClellan era Sharks as Todd McClellan did. But
No,
that's just my opinion.
no, it just seemed like the perfect team with the perfect coach in both standpoints. Let's be honest. Just
Yeah.
T-Mac had a little more success with it, you know.
I mean, you know, the Daryl Sutter Sharks were the happy to be there Sharks by Todd McClellan. Like Joe Thornton coming to San Jose changed the team, right? They went from being the happy to be there team to the cup contender years.
Right. Logan saying Sutter is the better coach. McClellan was better with the Sharks.
Maybe, I don't know. That'd be an interesting debate. I don't know if this is the proper.
Let's bookmark that for the summertime when we need to figure out summer content.
I don't know if this is the proper place to do that though.
Oh. Welcome everyone. So let's move on inward to the second period where LA started going off like gangbusters again, and then Fabian Zetterlund. I mean, he gets the opening goal to make it 1-0.
Yeah.
And you know, it just a nice play in my mind with how everything went down for the Sharks on this night. And then you have William Eklund with a slippery snipe. That's for all you Slippery Pete fans out there. But it just kept going back and forth. And it was like, oh boy, these guys are looking pretty good.
Well, I think, I mean, before the Sharks got on the board though, I mean, we have to give a shout out to Kaapo Kahkonen because I think the Kings came out pretty hard to start this game, and this game could have gotten really silly really quick. And it probably would have in previous years, but this, you know, so far, like this year, Kaapo Kahkonen's been really good, and it helps that he's playing for a contract, obviously.
Right.
And I do always I know people are mad at me because I keep bringing that up, but I think it's important to bring up that, like, yes, the guy is good because he is due money. And sometimes when people are due money, they play well and then they kind of turn back into a pumpkin again. I'm not sure what I would do with Kaapo Kahkonen at the deadline, honestly, because I think if you look in today's NHL with the way that most guys are split now, right? Like you do have a starter who's going to play more games, but it's not like the Martin Brodeur games where I'm playing 70 games and you can have 10, right?
Right.
So I think having two goalies is super important, and I don't, you know, and if you are a fan of the channel and you watched our Barracuda show, I think you would remember that I said I don't really know what I think of the Barracuda goalies. Like, I think they've all done admirably, and I don't think they've been the problem, but I still question if there's an NHL goalie in the group. So I don't know, man. Like, it's hard to decide what to do there. I think if a team comes and really bangs down your door for Kaapo Kahkonen, you're absolutely listening. But you know, if they don't move him, I mean, as long as they don't sign him to some ridiculous term, I don't hate the idea of him coming back. But I don't know if either of these guys, like it depends on how long you think this is going to turn around, right?
Yeah, that's the thing is how quickly do the Sharks think they are getting back to playoff contention? Let alone Stanley Cup contention, playoff contention. Because if you think you're a year or two away, do you keep both goaltenders?
Yeah, 100%. You know, like, I think if you think you're that close, but I don't think I hope the Sharks aren't delusional to think they're that close.
Well, if they are, and let's be honest, looking at attendance wise, they need the help. They need to get back out really quick, but
yeah, but can they, you know what though, like, this is something that I've said a lot on this podcast, and I will say it again just because I like hearing the sound of my own voice. If you fix the hockey problems will fix the attendance problems.
Right.
If you make moves to fix the business side without addressing the hockey side, both sides will fail.
Yeah. Uriel Q just got out of Crypto Arena. Nice win heading back to Bakersfield. Drive safely, and hopefully the roads are not awful in the grapevine for you. But glad you got to see a victory in SoCal tonight. But yeah, I agree with you with the goaltending. That I mean, if it were
I would
you,
listen on I would 100% listen on Kahkonen, because again, I am still skeptical of Kaapo Kahkonen. He's had a really good season, but again, he had a really good season when he came over and he was due money last time.
right?
And then when he was making the money and there was no new money in sight, he's kind of shit. And so I don't, again, but it does, it does deserve to be said that the Sharks did do a lot when it came to goaltending coaching over the summer, and so maybe some of that has paid off. So I don't want to completely discount the work that a guy like Ryan Miller's come in and probably doing. So I don't want to completely discount that as being a possibility, but I'm always skeptical of guys that light it up when the money is coming.
True, and you also have Mackenzie Blackwood, who's, I mean, the goaltenders for this team have played very well. I mean, honestly, it's just about these guys shooting the damn puck.
Yeah, and defending.
Well, yeah, that's got a part of it too. But I mean, puck possession's been awful. I mean, they were dominant in the face-off circle once again. I think after 2 periods, anyone who had a face-off percentage was at least 50% or more. I mean, I'm sure there were a couple that lost a draw or two that were over, but I mean,
face-offs are super overrated. I know.
But they need the puck.
They do it. It's an easy. Yes, they do need the puck. But if you win the face-off and then immediately lose it, then that face-off win is completely pointless. That's why I understand why face-offs, why we talk about it, why it's tracked. It's an easy counting stat. But if you can't do anything after you win the face-off, then what's the point of winning the face-off? It doesn't. Winning the face-off doesn't impress me if you can't, control the puck after you win it. Means nothing.
Fair enough. As we've sidetracked, let's get back into this one. Your thoughts on...
No. Do what I want.
So Zetterlund made it 1-0.
Yes, he did.
Eklund with his slippery snipe to make it 2-0. He had Trevor Moore late in the period get one for his team, leading 21st for Los Angeles.
Okay. So just around other injuries, Kings dominated the first minute of OT because of face-off wins. Yes, if you can win the face-off and then maintain possession of the puck after, that's great. The problem is again, if you win the face-off but then immediately turn it over, then what's the face-off done for you? It's done nothing. You might as well have lost it.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. It doesn't seem like it's that complicated to me.
Bozosaurus 666. Eklund looked great on the third line. Eklund probably played one of his nicest games in quite a while. I think it's his first goal in 18 games. He had 4 assists in that time. But nice for him to get a nice tally to get off the schneid for his 8th.
Well, I think, again, people are like, oh, God, Eklund's not scoring. No one is scoring, though. It's hard to get points when you're getting your ass handed to you. Eklund got put on the third line. Quinn said, this isn't punishment, whatever. But I think, Eklund had a really good game. I think he wants to play with, the top guys on this team. He doesn't want to, he wants to play in the top 6. That's where he's going to succeed. He knows that's where he's going to succeed. So I think tonight he came out, he had a really, really good game. That he needed. I really liked his game tonight. I think everyone was kind of talking that they kind of felt that he was going to get one this game just based on his play early. And, credit to him, he gets on the board. And then as the game progresses, he moves up the lineup too.
Yeah, and gets a nice reward for that. Indeed. So 2-1 after 2 periods. Third period, Kings get right back into it. Again, another goal within the first 2 minutes of the third period. Quentin Byfield left alone for his 14th to tie it up at 2-2, but Carpenter steals the puck, feeds it to Justin Bailey with some nice wheels to get in and score, goes 5-hole to make it 3-2. And then Drew Doughty does Drew Doughty things after Kaapo Kahkonen takes a puck and shoots it over the glass.
Yeah, like I feel like, so here's the thing that bugs me about that, right? Because like, yeah, Kaapo Kahkonen puts the puck over the glass, and that sucks. Like that's an automatic penalty, obviously, and I'm sure he doesn't feel very good about that. But like, God, man, like if there was ever a game where you'd want to bail a guy, like who, if anyone on this team deserves to be bailed out in that situation, is it not Kaapo Kahkonen? And what do you do instead? You screen him on the goal. Like, you know, you don't block the shot, get out of the way.
I mean, it'd be nice for you to clear the garbage.
Yeah, like just, I don't know, man. Like that bugged me because it was just like, again, like it's just a situation where you just want, like Kaapo Kahkonen has bailed you out the entire game. Just return the favor. I mean, you know, and they did in the shootout, thankfully, but like it's a situation there where I know points are bad, and we'll talk about the standings and the Sharks getting points all of a sudden and how it's the end of the world, I'm sure, quickly. But I don't know. In that situation there, I just wish that they would have bailed them out.
Yeah. No, apologies for the cough there. You would hope that there'd be some run support, and you know, if you're Giants fans, you would talk about run support for like Barry Zito or Logan Webb, who throws a pitching gem only to lose it, you know, 5-1 because the offense can't do crap right now.
Yeah,
you know, and that's the tough part. So, overtime, LA dominated. I don't know. I don't know if these guys are afraid to communicate. You know, this is where you'd hear Hetty go, communication is free. But it just seems like they're off target. And the same thing on special teams. You know, again, that Doughty goal is a power play goal. So that's, I think, 12 power play goals allowed in the last 11 games. They've quickly become the worst team in the league with penalty killing.
So I mean, like, look at least, hey, look, if you guys say the Barracuda haven't accomplished anything, I mean, obviously there's a direct transition there. Bad penalty killing on the Barracuda comes up to the Sharks. See, it's working. The Barracuda's working.
Yeah. Oh, snarky Canadian robot, I think, is a little more appropriate.
And again, if you want Barracuda content, we did like an over 2 hours of Barracuda talk on this channel a couple shows ago. Check it out.
Please do so. Smash that subscribe button because you have Barracuda content, you have Pucknologists, and then we do post games here as well. All right, so you get the shootout. The Sharks scored twice in it, including Zetterlund, which made Riddick, you know, get a little. Oh gosh, why am I blanking? All Pekka Rinne, Game 7 against the Sharks. So a nice win. Let's be honest here. They probably shouldn't have won this one.
No, and I think for the people, I'm glad you said that. I'm glad that you said that, and you basically put it on a tee for me. You're last welcome. 2 games that they've won, they could have easily lost, which is why I think for the people that are starting to panic, like, oh God, Couture's back and now he's going to wreck the tank. Couture's not going to wreck the tank. It's fine. This team shouldn't have won the last 2 games. Now, because those games were against the Ducks and the Kings, I don't really care. I like when we beat teams that I really strongly dislike. I don't get mad at those kind of games.
California sweep, baby. Woo!
Yeah. Just another Randy G with the super chat. If you want to
just got that up there. Sharks with back-to-back wins to reclaim the California throne. #Go Sharks. Yes, indeed.
Exactly.
Felix saying snarky Canadian robot unlocked. Although Marty's going with more optimistic Canadian robot. Good stuff. Go on. I
Appreciate
interrupted you.
the anyway. Oh, as always, we do appreciate the super chats. Super chats help us keep the lights on, helps us pay to keep the website running, and make sure that you can get this on your favorite podcatcher. So we always appreciate the super chats that support the show and keep this basically running itself, which is the way we want it. Appreciate you guys.
Thank God.
Yeah, so like I understand that you look at the standings, right, and you're like, oh my God, the Blackhawks have only two more points than the Sharks, and it's a little scary looking, but I look at this team and I'm not too concerned, because I don't think the Sharks should have won either of these games, to be completely honest. I mean, like, again, I enjoyed the win tonight. I think you got to enjoy the wins when they happen, like,
Right.
because when they stopped happening, it was pretty awful. And I don't know, man. I understand people are like, oh God, the tank. We have to remember that the draft is a lottery. So there is that. I'm not saying that the Sharks should just start picking up points indiscriminately now.
No.
Obviously you want the best odds. But I just, after the stretch we just had, and I think Couture is a good, I think he's a good player, right? But like, I don't think like he's gonna single-handedly, send this team on a tear. There's a lot of problems. Like, this team, allowed another night where they allowed 40 shots.
46 to be exact.
46 shots, right?
Holy crap.
So I mean, teams that play like this are going to lose more games than they win. I think that is nice that they picked up a couple of wins, because we had to break up the monotony of those losses were getting pretty ugly for a while.
Oh yeah.
So I think that, I think my advice to you, the viewer, would be to enjoy these small moments of zen, because I think that it could very quickly turn around again, and then we're talking another 11 game losing streak, right?
Can we not, please? on a personal level, can we not? I mean, let's not go on another losing streak, please.
Yeah.
So you're saying Couture's not McDavid? No, he's not.
No.
Jesse
L. I think he's good. Like, I don't want to like shit on Couture, right? Because I think he's been good since he's come back. But this team wasn't a Couture away from the playoffs before he was injured, and they're not a Couture going to the playoffs now.
Jesse L saying, no, it's Nico Sturm who's going to send this team on a tear. I mean, the Sharks won only one time with him out of the lineup.
That's true. But that's Jules' gimmick. I'm not stealing Jules' gimmick.
Randy G, maybe LA is interested in Kahkonen, LOL.
Maybe. I think that if I'm a team and I'm concerned with my goaltending, I think there's a lot of people. I mean, the problem is like Kaapo Kahkonen does make a decent amount of money. I think he's like $2.5 million. So it's not like he's super cheap. But the Sharks do have a retention spot, and his contract does come off the books at the end of the year, so it's not at the end of the world if they use it on Kaapo Kahkonen to help make that work. I'm curious to see what's going to happen this year, because goalies generally at the trade deadline, they don't fetch a lot usually. Like, there's the occasional situation where they do, right? But
right.
In general, as a rule, they generally don't fetch as much. But with so many teams needing help between the pipes, I'm fascinated to see what the prices look like.
This is going to be one of the more interesting trade deadlines specifically for goaltenders.
Agreed.
Because goaltending is needed everywhere, and I would have to think that somebody's got to give. It's like, remember the year that Ryan Miller got traded from Buffalo to St. Louis, and that just started a trickle down effect for goaltending getting moved. I have a feeling it's just going to take one goaltender to get moved, and then everything's going to go. Yeah. So we'll see.
Jesse L, does it use a retention spot to launder a 3-team trade? Yeah, because you're still retaining, like if you're retaining salary and then another team retains salary on top of that, you're still retaining salary, so it would eat up that spot. So you'd want to use it for the Sharks who are already retaining salary on Brent Burns and Erik Karlsson. You would want to use that slot on an expiring contract. And so maybe if a team like is super tight against the cap, maybe use it for Kaapo Kahkonen if someone wants to really give you an above average return for a goaltender. You might want to use it to get Kevin LeBanc out of town too, though. So I don't know. It depends. I still think that they can't use it on somebody who's not expiring. I think that would be a bad move for the Sharks because it completely ties their hands to do things. But I think if you use it on a guy with an expiring contract, it's fine.
Yeah, I mean, because it's just going to go away after the season, which will
be
beneficial.
It goes away July 1st.
Yeah. Big time. All right. So Sharks win this one 4-3 in the shootout over the Los Angeles Kings. They're on a 2-game winning streak. And now they get the New York Rangers, who are sitting in San Jose right now, enjoying the game, enjoying the rain. So, hi, Rangers. Hope you're having fun on your YouTube while you're sitting in your hotel room at I think it's probably the Hotel Valencia, but I digress. 7:30 puck drop, Sharks and Rangers on Tuesday night.
Another team, though, that hasn't been fantastic of late. I think the Rangers, the Rangers should beat the Sharks. But, it's another team that's been kind of just putting around in their last 10. So it should be an interesting game. I'm looking forward to it. I always like watching the Rangers. I like Igor Shesterkin. He's one of my favorite players in the league. But we probably won't see him because it's the Sharks.
That'll be Jonathan Quick.
Oh no, we're gonna win again.
Oh boy. Yeah, great.
Although did Quick play in LA?
Quick played in LA, they lost 2-1. So we'll see.
Well, maybe.
And some time off, who knows? But man, these races in the West, Eastern Conference wise, it's always going to be craziness, especially in the Atlantic. But
the Metro is the division. The Metro is fast. Both divisions are fascinating.
It sucks that the Sharks aren't in a playoff race because we'd be talking more about the playoff races. But looking at in both conferences are just phenomenal. But the West was kind of already settled by this time last year. Mm-hmm. Now it's still crapshoot. Winnipeg's up a point on Colorado. Dallas is at 60, so 3 points back. You have LA, who's just completely fallen apart, after starting the season with 11 straight road wins.
Yeah.
You have Nashville hanging in there at 51. You have Arizona, who they beat Pittsburgh tonight, right? With that. Oh boy. Go look on YouTube or Twitter or wherever, but apparently Evgeny Malkin can't handle a puck, and it went right into his open net. But Arizona's at 49, Calgary and Seattle are at 47, and then St. Louis is at 46, and Minnesota's 45. You're right in the mix there in January. It's not like, honestly, San Jose, Chicago, Anaheim are probably the ones that are pretty much done for in the West, and in the East it's just Ottawa and Columbus.
Yeah.
But Buffalo's quickly fading, and I thought they were going to have a good year. But getting back to the point, it's like the West is going to be really interesting again, and I wonder how that's going to dictate the trade deadline.
It's going to be because there's going to be a lot of teams that I think that are going to think that they're in it,
right?
Or they're close enough that they really. There's a couple like the Arizona Coyotes at this point. Like you kind of have to start buying, don't you?
At this point,
unless if something goes completely south between now and the trade deadline. But like if you're there right now, you're 2 points out of a wild card. Don't you kind of owe it to your team to buy at this point?
Man,
kind of owe it to your fans to buy.
wouldn't it be, and I know up in Canada they all have a shit fit, which makes it even better, but wouldn't it be fun to see a whiteout at Mullet Arena?
Yeah, I just want to watch people cry about it on Twitter,
Yeah,
to
no,
be
exactly.
honest.
Exactly.
Um, yeah, I don't know. Felix asked an interesting question in the chat. Um, you know, uh, do I think goaltending is down this year? I think that there is less truly elite goaltending in the league right now. I think that goaltending's kind of in a weird place, but I think the players are just better. Like uh scoring is just up across the board, and I don't think it's because all the goalies are bad. I do think that there's less truly elite goalies in the game, and there's a lot of good ones right now. But I just think it's, you look at these things kind of cycle. And I just think that these kids that are coming up that have found just new and exciting ways to score, um, and they kind of do things that like would be at one point considered like, like when you have guys doing the Michigan and stuff. Like,
Yes.
remember when Tomas Hurdle put the puck between his legs and that was the end of the fucking universe?
It was
Remember
disrespectful.
that? Remember how
dare
that disrespected the game?
Oh,
And now you got guys like doing the Michigan nonstop. Like, it's crazy how far we've come, right?
it's nice to see, to be honest.
Yeah, I think scoring's just up in general. I think the players are better. I think there's more. There's just, I think if the only position I think expansion hurt is maybe goaltending. Maybe that's why it feels like there's less elite goaltenders now, because there's so many NHL goaltenders with 32 teams in the league now. Yeah, I think goaltending is just in a weird place, and it'll come around again. It always does, right? Like the 80s led to the 90s, where it seemed like we had just obscene amount of elite goaltenders. And obviously, I think defensive systems were different too. The trap, you have the dead puck era, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But I don't know. I just think it's a situation where scoring's up across the board, and I don't think it's fair just to be like, well, the goalies all suck now. I think it's a more nuanced education. It's a more nuanced conversation, I think, than just goalies suck.
No, I get you.
But scoring is definitely up. Like, I mean, it wasn't that long ago, like when I was growing my hair, and what was league average goaltending save percentage then was like 915. That's what we did for, said Martin Jones had 915 and played X number of games, and and then I have to cut my hair. League average goaltending right now is 907.
Is it a bad thing?
Which
Not
no,
necessarily.
it's not a bad. I don't think. I think hockey's been super exciting to watch this year. Even when you're not invested in the teams you're watching. And I think when you look at the number being 907, it really, really, when you look at, I think, Mackenzie Blackwood and Kaapo Kahkonen save percentage, I think it really shows just how great of a season they're having when you put it into the perspective that 907's league average this year.
Yeah. For full disclosure, Martin Jones is at a 911 with Toronto.
Yeah.
But
again, is he good or I don't know.
Or is Toronto's defense good?
No, it's not good. Toronto's defense not good. But I think that, like, again, this isn't the first time where like Martin Jones bursts on the scene, is like, oh my God, he's back, and then it's like, yeah maybe
not. Looking on Twitter just to see here. Quinn says Ferraro will probably be out for the next couple of games. It was a good sign that he was able to test it out before the start of the third period. That's coming from Shang. So
if only someone said that on this chat. Sorry. Good job, Ian.
In case you missed anything or watch this again, check us out on tealtownusa.com. Sorry, I had to have fun with that.
Find watching the show.
Find us wherever you can get your podcasts: Apple, Google, YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, TuneIn, iHeart, Odyssey. And of course, if you're on the YouTube channel, by all means, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, leave a comment down below. Tell us what you thought about tonight's game. Tell us what you thought of us talking about everything and then some until we got to the game recap. But we really appreciate each and every one of you coming in. Ian, your final thoughts before we wrap things up on this night?
Yeah, I mean, when the Sharks do good, it's good, right? I mean, that's what else can I say at this point? When the Sharks do good, it's good.
I'm glad I didn't swallow my water before you said that. He's at Ian Blogs Hockey on the Twitter machine. I'm at PuckGuy14 practically everywhere. We will be back with you tomorrow. That's right, Tuesday night. The Sharks take on the New York Rangers. I don't know who's doing the show, but we'll be here.
Who is doing the show?
No.
I'm doing the show.
You're doing the show, but I don't know who you're doing it with.
Oh, that's scary.
Yeah. So that's for offline conversation. And until then, thanks for watching us. Your final score again, Sharks win 4-3 over the Los Angeles Kings. Until then, keep it real, keep it teal, keep it real, Teal. Have a good night, everyone.